What do I outsource?
You're a voice actor. You're an entrepreneur. You're a VOPreneur. Welcome to the Everyday VOpreneur podcast, your guide through the business of voiceover.
Having your voiceover demos easily playable and downloadable on your website is essential. The VoiceZam player lets you do that across any device and browser. There are also options for adding play buttons in your email signature, tracking your listens, and even putting videos in your demo player. Sign up now at voicezam.com/Marc Scott and receive an instant $25 credit. For full details and to claim this offer, visit voicezam.com/Marc Scott.
The VOPRENEUR podcast. Hey, it doesn't suck.
Not as funny as Conan. Not as cute as Seth Meyers. Not as smart as Colbert. But he's one of us, and that counts for something. Here's Marc Scott, the original Everyday VOpreneur.
Hello and welcome to the Everyday VOpreneur podcast, your guide through the business of voiceover. I'm Marc Scott, the original Everyday VOpreneur, back with another summer series episode for summer of 2022. What is the summer series? These are short, quick-hit episodes that are designed to give you one solid piece of actionable, practical advice and then get you back to doing whatever it is that you enjoy doing over the course of the summer. Hopefully, at the very least, you're listening to this episode while you're relaxing by the pool or, driving across the country on family vacation. Whatever it is, I hope you're having a great summer. So I want to talk a little bit about outsourcing, and honestly, I could probably do a whole series of episodes on outsourcing, and it's a subject that I might dive deeper into possibly in the fall. But I want to start with one of the most common questions that I get asked, and that is, what do I outsource? And I think that there are a couple of ways that you can approach this particular question. Now, I'm not going to dive into the exact specifics of how it all works, but I want to at least get you thinking about what you could potentially be outsourcing. So first and foremost, when it comes to the topic of outsourcing, hiring a virtual assistant, for example, the question I want you to ask yourself first is, what can only I do? Because that's where it's got to start. There are dozens, probably, of tasks that are part of your daily business. Of those dozens of tasks, there are going to be certain ones that only you can do, or maybe only you are comfortable doing. So, for example, nobody else is going to go into the booth and record for me. I know that that is something that only I can do. I am not comfortable at this point with outsourcing the payment side of my business. And so maintaining payments, collecting payments, dealing with all the banking and all of that sort of stuff, that's something that right now I think only I can do. So there are certain things in your business that only you can do because maybe it's a certain skill that only you have, like voicing, or maybe it's a certain task that only you're comfortable doing. But the point is, make a list of things that only you can do. And now, whatever other tasks are left on your schedule on a day-to-day basis, those become things that could be potential tasks to be outsourced to a virtual assistant. Lead generation is one of the ones that I talk about the most. Can only you do lead generation for your business? Of course not. It's Google searches, it's LinkedIn searches, it's social media mining, and that is something that just about anybody could do for you. And so that becomes a task that makes a lot of sense to outsource. Not to mention the fact that it is a task that is incredibly time-consuming, or can be incredibly time-consuming. And so by outsourcing a task like lead generation, you're giving up a task that you don't need to be doing. You can get somebody else to do it for you, and all of the hours that you were spending on a daily basis doing lead generation, that's all time that you just got back. Time that you can either invest in your business in other ways, or maybe it's time that you gain back some of the freedom that you want in your life. So lead generation, an obvious one. Bookkeeping, accounting, invoicing might be something that you want to outsource. Social media design, having somebody create graphics and help you write posts and all of that sort of stuff. Or social media management, having somebody just take over your social media profiles, which I know voice actors that do this. Editing is another great one. Yeah, maybe only you can go in the booth and record the voiceover, but that doesn't mean that you're the only one that could sit down and edit the voiceover. So if you're working on a really large e-learning project, for example, and maybe there's going to be 10 or 15 hours of editing to get that project done, if you could outsource that editing to somebody else and get back 10 or 15 hours that you could invest in your business on the things that only you can do, that's one of the ways that you're going to be able to scale up. Email marketing may be another one of those things. And so it's literally just asking, what can only I do? And then whatever's left becomes things that you could potentially get someone else to do for you. We want to make sure that you are spending the bulk of your time doing those things that only you can do, because that is how you are going to maximize your own productivity and your own efficiency. And maybe right now you've got enough hours in the day to do it all, and that's fine, and that's perfect. But if you are consistently not accomplishing all of your daily tasks because you are, quote unquote, too busy, then either it's time to think about outsourcing or it's time to reprioritize. So the first approach is just asking the question, what can only I do? And then look at all of the items that are left over as potential candidates to be outsourced. The second approach, what do I do best that I don't specifically have to do? Now, this one might sound a little bit counterintuitive because if it's something that you are really great at, maybe it's even something that you enjoy, then why wouldn't you want to keep doing it? Well, here's the flip side. If it's something that you're really great at, it's probably something that you would have an easier time teaching someone else how to do. So let's use editing as an example. I have done my 2-hour life-changing Adobe Audition session with Uncle Roy, and he has taught me things that I can do in Adobe Audition that I never knew I could do, even though I had used the program for 10 years prior to doing that session. He's made me incredibly efficient in my editing, and he has made it so that I actually enjoy doing editing again because I am incredibly efficient in my editing. But do I have to do my own editing? Not specifically. And now that I know how to do it really well, because I've been taught how to do it really well, it's something that I could very easily teach someone else how to do. So, for example, let's take the podcast. I could probably sit down with someone in a few hours and show them exactly how I want to have the podcast edited. So it's something that I could really easily teach. And if it's something that you can teach well because you're great at, it lends to the notion that you're going to have greater success with working with a freelancer or a virtual assistant. Because odds are, for some of you, you've hired a virtual assistant in the past and the experience did not go well because they did not live up to expectation or they did not meet the demands the way that you thought they were going to meet. And so you were disappointed and you stopped working with them. But if you can teach them really well, then you are setting them up for a greater chance of success, which ultimately makes your life a lot easier. So that's the second approach. What do I do best that I don't specifically have to do? Because that becomes something that you can very easily teach. The third thing to look at is software solutions. Look, we live in a very technologically advanced world, even significantly more so than where we were 10 years ago, which means that there are a lot of software solutions out there for a lot of the challenges that we face as small business owners and VOpreneurs. So are there software solutions that you can use to help make your life a little bit easier? Software solutions that you could quote unquote outsource to. Some of the things that I'm thinking off the top of my head, using a social media scheduler to bulk schedule social media posts for 30 days in advance across all of your social platforms. How nice would it be to have all of that done in advance? You take an afternoon, you do it, and now you don't have to think about it for a month. That would be pretty sweet. Taking advantage of a CRM to manage your database and hold you accountable to when it's time to reach out to prospects and clients again. CRM solutions can free up a lot of time and really help with organization. And obviously, the more organized that you are, the more efficient that you are with your time. Using invoicing software to send automated reminders on outstanding invoices. So maybe you're sending invoices using like Microsoft Excel, and you have to manually track all of that stuff and manually send out reminders. Taking advantage of a software solution like waveapps.com, for example, you send out your invoice, you set a schedule for automated reminders. So now you don't have to think about it anymore. And then your clients can even pay straight through the invoice through Wave Apps. So you don't even have to worry about that anymore. So it's making your life easier and gaining back precious minutes in your day via a software solution. You could also be looking at things like creating templates for repeated tasks. So are there certain types of emails that you're sending over and over and over again? Creating a template for your introductory email. Creating a template for your 1-week follow-up email so that you're not constantly having to type those things over and over again. That's using software to become more efficient with your time. So thinking like a VOpreneur means thinking about scale. If your 40 hours a week are not enough and you don't want to work 50 or 60 hours a week, that's one indication that it might be time to, we'll say, lease time from someone else. So you use your 40 hours a week, but then for a fee, you have a virtual assistant who gives you 5 or 10 hours of their week, and now all of a sudden you've got 50 hours a week going into your business. That is how you scale. So always be open to using outside resources. Now, whether that's a human resource, hiring a virtual assistant, using software, using the cloud, using services that can do some things for you, whatever it is that helps you to do more, that is how you grow your business to the next level. So when it comes to thinking about outsourcing, again, very quickly, first and foremost, what can only I do? And whatever the remaining tasks are, become candidates for outsourcing. Second approach, what do I do best that I don't specifically have to do? Because that is something that you can definitely teach, which sets you up for greater potential for success on the outsourcing front. And then the third is, are there software solutions that can help to make some of these tasks easier, that can help me to be more time efficient with these tasks? These are all questions that you need to be thinking about. Even if you're not ready to outsource yet, starting to think about this stuff now and starting to look for solutions that you could implement down the road, it's going to help you scale up your business. It's going to help take you to the next level. Are you learning things from the summer series? I would love to know about it. Can you do me a favor? Can you take a picture? Are you listening? Take a picture of yourself listening by the pool or at the beach or at the park or in your camping trailer or wherever you are enjoying the summer series and enjoying summer. Take that picture, post it on Instagram, tag me in your stories at Marc Scott. I would love to see that you are enjoying the episodes and that you're learning from the episodes. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for hanging out. Want more VOpreneur goodness? Jump online at VOPRENEUR.com.